coming in for Washington. She's such a critical piece of how they're able to operate, given so many young players and so much dominance in the post.
Time now for our starting lineups, brought to you by AT&T. With the Mystics, Georgia Amor, Sonia Citron, Cody McMahon, Kiki Iriafin, and Shakira Austin for the 2-1 Mystics. For the Wings, Paige Beckers, Odyssey Sims, Arike Agumbawale, Alana Smith, and Jessica Shepard.
Yeah, we're talking a lot about the paint for the Mystics. Shakira Austin, such a huge part of that, now in her 5th year, been cleaning up the glass. And for Dallas, Arike Agumbawale is one that has been here. She's carried the load so often, now ready to share a lot of that and how this team has been so explosive offensively.
Head coach for the Mystics, Sidney Johnson, in his 2nd season as head coach of Washington, has been preaching to his team toughness and togetherness, which will be a theme throughout this ball game. Jose Fernandez, 1st season as Wings head coach. And again, wants to see his team get a win on their home floor, wants to see a more organized group. They've coming off 2 losses at home, games that they could have won.
Yeah, games that they could have won, but a curiosity for both these teams about building chemistry. They understand that, yes, you want to get wins, but more of it is about the process and how everything is coming together. I think a great test for both of these groups.
2 franchises who have been in rebuild mode for most of the past couple of years, but are now poised to initiate a new era of success led by the young talent. We mentioned this game features 2 former #1 picks, 3 members of last year's all-rookie team, and those 3 players were all-stars a year ago as well. We are underway here at College Park Center. Mystics coming off of that win Friday night in Indiana against the Fever. Overtime victory there. This is Amor, can't hit the tray. Rebound secured by Shepard. Beckers over to Shepard. Shepard's been solid in the early going of the season. Can't hit the reverse. Ball on the floor and wrestled away by Iriafin.
Keep your eyes on the paint for both sides. It's an area where Washington is so strong defensively. Dallas will try and look for those lanes when they can.
Iriafin. McMahon, and it's stolen. Agumbawale with the thievery. Getting downhill in the lane, rises and hits.
A point of effectiveness for Dallas is on the break. They lead the league in fast break points, and you see it there. They'll put a lot of pressure here defensively and trying to amp things up.
And we have a foul away from the ball. And it's going on Alana Smith. It's going to be her first team foul against the Wings.
And Alana Smith, an ad here for this Dallas team. So you look at Arike Agumbawale doing an excellent job putting the pressure on the rim.
Iriafin knocks it down from the corner. 3-2 advantage. 2nd 3-pointer of the season for Kiki Iriafin. The matchup you want to see. Beckers and Citron. Beckers with the J.
Beckers is so smooth in the mid-range. Her ability to get to her spot. She's added muscle. It's allowed her to have a greater level of physicality, especially when she's looking for those intermediate shots.
Shakira Austin. Out to Amor. Shot clock down to 6. Amor on an Iriafin screen. Got it back to Iriafin. Can't hit the left. Agumbawale. Over to Sims. Odyssey Sims rises. Can't connect. Rebound secured inside by Smith. Fresh 14 for Dallas. Shepard. Outside to Sims. Shot clock winding down. Sims. That's an air ball and a shot clock violation.
Really solid defensive possession for Washington. How they're able to stay on their own. And you can see because of their length, because of their size, they can clog up the paint. And Dallas wants to play fast, but overall for Washington, it is in their best interest if they can keep them here in the half court.
That's the chess match in this one you're alluding to, Cruz. Washington dominant in the paint as Citron can't hit the J. And a loose ball foul. Keep it here. Iriafin muscling inside, her 2nd foul. Career in her 4th year out of Finland. Amor over to Austin. Austin battling inside and a traveling violation.
And Queer already making an impact there. Shepard is able to meet Shakira Austin early, but because of those dig-ins, that's something that I think is going to be very present for Dallas. How can they be moving on a string? Because you know it's a point of emphasis for an offensive-minded team to improve at that end.
Shepard looking for daylight, got some space and scores. Shepard averaging 10, 8, and 5 so far for the Wings. Pass outside the area, been stolen. Wings running. Agunbowale going at Citron and draws the foul.
Looking to push the pace offense, and we see it in Agunbowale already. And for Jose Fernandez, that's what he wants out of this group. And we've seen the dynamic not only in the personnel, but in the style of what Dallas is doing and how they're playing. But it is all about just getting the ball up the floor, quick with the kickouts, quick with the pushes, and the better they get in the defensive side of things will allow them more of those type of opportunities.
One thing Washington will do is cough up the basketball. They are worst in the WNBA in taking care of the Rocks. 17 turnovers a game. They have a couple already in this one.
And Grady, you know that happens, often with a young team. One getting their feet wet, feeling one another, working with the chemistry with so many new players. But those are some of the areas, I think, for the Mystics. You're trying to figure that out. Taking care of the basketball, maybe not fouling so much. And some of those details are the things they continue to work on.
Citron with the handle. Pocket pass over to Austin. Austin inside. And Prosper can't hit. Rebound secured by Shepard. Washington just 1 for 5 in the early going. And bodies on the floor. Citron takes it away from Beckers. And she was across the timeline, and it's an over and back.
After it, you see right here. Watch the look on her face. She's talking, and sometimes things moving a little fast, trying to get it going.
This is Agunbowale. Skip pass over to Shepard. Shepard going an area fin. Shepard outside to Queer. Hand off to Beckers. 2 seconds. Beckers can't hit. And the hustle by Shepard. Sims being hounded by Amor. Sims, hard drive. Tried to dump it off and turned it over. Sonia Citron with the rock. Prosper. Over to Iriafin. Inside, Austin. Good position. Couldn't hit.
Jessica Shepard, add another to a huge benefit for this group and her presence on both ends.
Sims. Over to Shepard. Fires from the free throw line and rattles out.
Dallas creating some really quality looks, just some not falling here early.
Amor. Back to Austin. Austin puts it up and throws.
That's strong. And again, Shepard's doing her best to try and not give Austin deep inside position. But Austin, you've seen the growth, the development, not just only in her leadership on the floor, but also the footwork and the moves and how she's able to handle different coverages.
She's averaging a double-double so far this season, 18 and 10. This is Agunbowale off the heel, and rebound secured by Iriafin. Georgia Amor missed all of last season with that torn ACL. And seeing her first NBA action this year, can't hit there. And we have a time 8 points in Thursday's loss to Minnesota. Queer, count it, and put her on the line.
What a play there by Queer, and just overall running this break for Dallas. Washington had great early pickup points. Overall, they had got to be pleased with how they felt like they had defended that position and trying to slow the break. But Queer showcasing her strength, her ability to get it up, and good awareness here on the floor.
Maddie Siegrist checked into the ball game for the Wings. Rory Harmon just checked in for the Mystics. Sidney Johnson will go deep into his rotation, 10 deep. And that's still a process. You got a lot of young talent, a lot of players who want to get in there and contribute. He's trying to make everybody happy.
And in many cases, you want to see what you have and do so with game experience and reps, because nothing can simulate this type of actual game action that these players are getting to experience.
Good ball movement here. This is Harmon on the move. And a dangerous pass stolen. On the turnover for the Mystics. Fudd outside Agumbawale for three. Timeout Washington. The Wings are rolling early.
Ooh, breakdown defensive for that Mystics team, and you get a clean look for a three-point shooter that you do not want to leave open.
Back here in Arlington, and the Dallas Wings had a couple of days to get practice after losing their second straight game this past Thursday. They looked sharp early.
Yeah, and to a player that we spoke with this morning after she run, they said it was a really solid couple days in terms of just refining some things, because you don't often get that type of extended time once you're starting the season.
That is another turnover, 6 already in this opening frame for the Mystics. Beckers going to work on Wilson. Dump off, Segrist free throw line jumper won't drop. And rebound secured by Dugalich.
Even early on when shots aren't falling, you're seeing the spacing and balance Dallas presents on the offensive side.
Cody McMahon outside to Wilson. Skip pass to Harmon, a Texas native. Driving on Fudd. Harmon put it up and draws the foul.
Tough take there by Rory Harmon as she looks to attack. And for Washington, a big part of them scoring in the paint isn't just about their bigs. They have guards and perimeter players that can penetrate, can get inside. They stretch you out, and AZ Fudd getting comfortable here early. And for Dallas, that's been a major part of it when we talk about what they can do offensively. Can they shore things up defensively? And for Jose Fernandez early on, that was a big point of emphasis throughout the course of practice, and showcasing their ability to look at the game plan, know their personnel, and put pressure on some of these young Washington players.
Isaiah James just checked in for the Wings. Odyssey Sims also checked back in for Dallas. It's a 16-7 advantage for the Wings. Look at a snap, a 2-game losing skid. This is James, can't hit, and Betts clears it. McMahon, another one of those rookies, and an offensive foul. The turnovers piling up. That's 7 now. And Dallas already with 9 points off of those Washington miscues.
And that's a tough part, because Dallas has had some turnovers, but Washington hasn't necessarily been able to capitalize, whereas for this Dallas team, they're off and running, and this is at least a dead ball turnover off of the foul, but the last thing you want is to give them extra possessions when they're on the run.
Another line change for the Mystics. Most of the starters back in the ball game, along with Cass Prosper. Sims trying to turn the corner. Toss out to Segrist. Hits the turn. A 12-point advantage for the Wings. Citron. Threw it right to James. Sims. Bounce pass to Fudd. Fudd retreats. And they'll set things up. Segrist. Tossed out to James. James wants 3. Too strong. And Citron the rebound. Washington shooting just 22%, and they've turned it over 8 times. This is Citron, and that's well off the mark.
It's always a possession game. What Dallas has done a very good job of, and Washington not being able to exploit, is the offensive glass.
How about this crowd pop for Lee Yarou, who just checked into the ball game for the Wings.
I tell you what, she's going to be a fun player to continue to watch. She had a great season throughout the course of the winter with Unrivaled, and she not only got the size, but I've been really impressed with her finesse, the footwork, how she can move, and she is just a sponge.
Yarou for three. That was out.
Building about to pop if that goes through.
Citron inside to Austin. Austin will go with Yarou here. Double outside. Prosper finds Amore. The defensive intensity from the Wings has been palpable. Amore inside over to Austin. Austin through contact will go to the line for two.
And that was one of the few examples of a little bit late on second chance opportunities using their size, and they have not been able to do that. Overall, the Wings have been blocking out. They're finding a man. It's been one and done, and it's allowed them to run.
Tomorrow on Peacock and NBCSN, it's desperation time in the Premier League. With the threat of relegation looming, Spurs must deliver against crosstown rivals Chelsea. It all unfolds live tomorrow at 3:15 Eastern on Peacock and NBCSN. About a 1-second difference between the shot and game clock. Sims taking her time. Sims outside, Segrist. Now it's Fudd. Segrist got it back. Shot clock winding down. Segrist through iron. Yarou tried to keep it alive, and the clock expires on the opening front in the first 10.
Getting the job done at both ends of the floor as they're trying to get their first win here at home.
You're watching WNBA Game Time, presented by Dick's Sporting. Just 2 field goals for the Mystics in that first quarter and 8 turnovers.
And give credit to the Dallas defense for how they're speeding up Washington.
That's James with the miss. Austin the other way. Austin puts it up and through.
That's been such a huge part of the development and growth of Shakira Austin's game. 5 out set allow her to operate, but the way in which she's worked on her handles, the tightness of them, and how she can operate in single coverage.
Oh, backdoor cut. Fudd, toss out to Segrist. Now it's Sims. Long range 3, won't drop. And the Mystics 2-1 on this season. This is Amore over to Prosper. Prosper, baseline drive, clearing space, and hits the reverse.
That's a tough take by Prosper. James is a really good defender. She's doing her best to stay in front. And for Washington, just continuing to be patient to find those driving lanes is going to be critical.
Segrist for 3, drops. Such a key contributor off the bench for Jose Fernandez.
She is, and she's a bucket, all-time leading scorer coming out of Villanova. She can stretch it from the outside, get it on the inside. She really can score at all 3 levels.
Citron yet to get going. Dump off to Austin. Austin with the left, it bounces out. Segrist. Attack mode. Oh, fakes one direction, can't hit, and she fouls Shakira Austin.
Back on transition, so overall, how much are you continuing to have people pouring in on the offensive glass, knowing that you got to get your get-back game going?
Citron. And an offensive foul. Paige Beckers needs a moment. Here's another look at it, yep. That high elbow grazing the forehead of Paige Beckers.
Trying to clear some space coming over the top, catching her. Tremendous amount of respect between these 2 individuals and players, and they also have so much gravity on the floor. They attract a lot of attention, whereas they're opening up shots for their teammates.
Wings by 9. This is Smith from downtown, hits the tray. Smith has yet to really get going this season so far for the Wings. That's a positive sign.
And that's her first 3-point make of the season. She can shoot them, though, and that's going to be a major factor in the spacing.
Amore can't hit. Area pin, the offensive board, and fouled inside. And that is a big part of Washington's game plan.
Chip into this deficit. Nice play by Georgia A. Moore. The shot doesn't go through, but that pass fake opened up a lot, realizing that the pocket pass wasn't there, and Iriafork, where Iriafork does such a great job. You could say the same thing about Shakira Austin, just working to always get inside position, almost turning an offensive rebound into that defensive positioning. She's relentless. That's the word she used in describing to us this morning how she's able to continue to get those type of rebounds, is just staying relentless.
Right now, Jose Fernandez opting to keep Alana Smith out there on the floor. She has 3 fouls now after that last sequence. Smith, the reigning co-defensive player of the year. Agunbowale. Over to Smith. Smith, the mid-range J, won't drop. Offensive rebound to Clark. Beckers finds Agunbowale. Can't hit the high-arcing tray. Iriafork the board. Citron looking for a first field goal. Haymore. Prosper inside to Austin, immediately sees a double. That leaves Prosper open for the tray.
Prosper making that Dallas team pay for the dig down and the double on the inside.
Prosper, rookie out of Notre Dame. Beckers outside. Smith won't take the three, instead will penetrate. Kept the pivot and threw it away.
And great defense by Sonia Citron. Doesn't have necessarily that size, but beats her to the spot.
Haymore looking for daylight. Leaves it for Iriafork. Inside Austin. Got an easy deuce.
Coach Fernandez's words were comfortably familiar to Paige Beckers. She referenced her time at UConn with Coach Auriemma, saying, it's what I'm used to. It's what I'm most comfortable with. Him publicly calling us out, not lying or mincing his words. Everyone just wants to play and contribute to winning. It's tough being a D team in the W. We just have to channel it in a more positive way, because I think our depth can be our superpower. Odyssey Sims added, there was zero bad intention in the words. Sure, some frustration, I get it, but nothing was taken personally. He apologized, acknowledged that maybe he shouldn't have said it publicly, but no one on our team took offense to it. We came in, had 2 great days of practice. It was totally overblown. Sarah, we're seeing out there on the floor this team responding. I know I've been in those locker rooms. I'm sure you have, Sarah, where something like that is much ado about nothing. I think we, the media, have made this something bigger than it actually is.
I think sometimes, too, just words have connotations to go along with it. The word selfish, I think, triggers that at some point. But overall, for this group, they're tight-knit. There's a tremendous amount of respect, and I think sometimes that openness and directness is something that changes a culture.
How about the Wings out of the timeout, getting a couple of field goals? That was Shepard getting the lay. And it felt like it was noteworthy that Jose Fernandez said he did tell his team after that Saturday practice that that's something he should have kept in the locker room, even though his team understood exactly where he was coming from.
And I think that's where the accountability, the ownership. Look, Jose Fernandez was coaching in South Florida when I was a player. It's called playing against him. I've known him when I was an assistant coach. That is all about just learning relationships and one another. And I think that type of communication is really important as a team tries to grow together.
4:35 to go in the second quarter. Dallas hanging on to a 7-point advantage. This is Dugalich, poked away, and Citron comes out of there with it, but she's tied up and will have a jump ball. Only question is, will she jump it up with Smith, or the Mystics have done a better job taking care of the ball?
That's been a major factor. I mean, you think about just how many extra opportunities Dallas was able to have because of it and get out the run. They just seem much more composed and settled in.
Bud over to Beckers. Off the handoff, pocket pass. Smith blocks. Dugalich with the rejection. And it's out of bounds. It will stay with the wing.
And that was a great help coming over by Dugalich, because Betts was staying up with Paige Beckers off of that screen, and because of it, it's a nice clean look and what Smith thought she had. Dugalich is, I'm really excited to continue to watch her growth in this league, what she can do. Obviously a tremendous collegiate career and part of that UCLA championship winning team.
Cody McMahon traveled. Just the second turnover of this second quarter for the Mystics. Beckers will bring it up for the Wings. Beckers so far just 2 points, a couple of assists in 12 minutes. Fudd outside to Agunbowale, and we have a foul. It's going against McMahon, running right.
Just the intricacies of the actions coming off the ball. You look right here as McMahon's trying to fight over the top. She does not want Agunbowale to get a clean look and ends up picking up that foul.
It's 3 fouls now on McMahon as we have an offensive foul. We're going the other way. It's on.
It's a Player of the Year campaign. The trust that you have in her as someone that's a veteran. Also, Fernandez is comfortable going a little bit deeper into his roster and seeing what these players have.
Citron to the cup. Washington, they made their last 5 shots. Beckers for 3, off the mark. Giroux with the offensive board, pushes inside, going against Bet, stays with it, off the mark, got it back a 3rd time, and a foul is called.
That is a tough. She could to have Giroux bottled up underneath, and even though Giroux's coming up with these offensive rebounds, it's just right there. The arm just a little bit too much.
That didn't happen a lot in the Big Ten last season.
No.
No. Citron just picked up her 3rd foul. And at the moment, Citron.
Players that you need to make sure to have available here through the game.
Citron with 4 points and those 3 personal fouls as Giroux good at the free throw line. 31-25, Dallas on top. Under 3 minutes to go in this first half. Amore, fancy handle. Ball bounces out. Beckers clears. Pass ahead to Giroux. Hand off to Agunbowale. Step back, Jay won't drop. Rebound, bounces around. Fudd comes out of there with it. Segrist over to Beckers for 3. Money.
Quickness of the passing, the relocation in the plays. You see that movement, especially from Paige Beckers, making herself available and open coming off of that offensive rebound.
Amore. Toss out to Prosper. Prosper on the logo. Austin penetrates. Austin got the soft touch. Austin in double figures now with 10 points. Beckers over to Segrist. Segrist to Fudd now. Fudd mid-range. Second field goal for AZ Fudd.
One of the purest jump shots you're going to see. What's special, too, about Fudd is she can get it, catch and shoot. She can get it off the dribble.
Austin from the free throw line, no good. Offensive board secured by Iriafin, and she was fouled on the play. And it's going against Maddie Segrist. Fudd with the jumper.
Here in the second quarter, it's what allowed them to cut into that lead. But overall, that's going to have to remain a factor here and something to monitor.
And tough pass, the 4th, right on cue.
Add that to the roll, the low-light roll for Washington. It's been an issue for them early on this season overall.
And 17 turnovers a game they're averaging on the season. That's the most in the WNBA, and they have 12 in the first half alone.
And you can tell, and one thing it is, a part of it is Kiki Iriafin told our Jordan Cornette of just slowing down and being patient, but also Dallas understands that's a vulnerability for them that they've tried to exploit.
Fudd off the mark on the jumper. We have 1 minute to go in this second quarter. Amore over to Wilson, and now it's Austin. She's in double figures with 10, going out of walk Couir. With defense by Couir. As Austin picks up the dribble, shot clock down to 3. Austin, pass deflected and stolen. Couir leaves it for Segrist with the line. That sequence, a microcosm of how this first half has gone. This is Wilson in the corner and fouled beyond the arc by Beckers.
A little bit too much here trying to close out, but that turnover causes a clinic here in transition for Dallas. Great run by Segrist as she gets ahead. And Awak Kawir showcasing her ability to put it on the deck, push the pace. And really overall for Dallas, I know they're still trying to figure out how to stay connected on the defensive side at this young part of the season, but they're showcasing that they have the capabilities.
Yes. Let's take a look at the upcoming WNBA national TV schedule. Wednesday on USA Network, Portland Fire at Indiana, followed by Dallas at Chicago. Thursday on Prime Video, Golden State, New York, Las Vegas, Portland. For more on these games, go to WNBA.com or visit the WNBA app. Wilson, 2 of 3, shot clock off. Five points for Beckers in this first half. Shadowed by Wilson. Segrist, pump. Step back, Segrist can't hit, and the first half is in the books. Jose Fernandez has to be awfully pleased with the first 20.
Overall, on both ends of the floor, and I think that's what you want to see from this group as they get more comfortable with one another. A lot of work to do here.
That Dallas is doing, but we're not sharp. We are throwing turnovers all over the place. We're being careless with the basketball. You got to tighten up there. Otherwise, we feel pretty good about where we are in this contest thus far.
That makes sense. Mystics have shot 45% in this game as Shepard misses the layup attempt. Meanwhile, the Wings shooting around 35% so far in this game. But again, the turnovers has been the differentiating factor. Amor. Defended by the veteran Sims. Nice crossover. Amor with a 3.
What a smooth move. And obviously Sims is ready to fight over a ball screen. She's coming from her left, and Amor makes a tremendous read.
First field goal of the ball game for Georgia Amor. Beckers to the rim. Pull up J is money.
Saw that early on in the game and how Beckers got things started, getting to the mid-range, and her spots is where she is so comfortable.
Amor. Inside. Area fin turns. Can't hit. And here comes Dallas the other way. Awak Kawir getting the start in the third quarter as Agumbawale racing to the rack for 2.
That's part of the pace, the tempo, but it starts with getting a stop, the one-and-out possessions, as Coach Fernandez talked to Jordan about before the half.
And Alana Smith picked up 4 fouls in the first half and not starting this third quarter. Citron, skip pass over to Amor, had to jump to catch it. Inside to Austin. Shot clock winding down. Austin just got it off in time for 2.
Good recognition, and that was taking advantage off the switch. Shepard a little late coming back over off of the help.
And that is an illegal screen. Offensive foul, a turnover. 6th of the ball game for the Wings. Saw during halftime the Wings with a 17-4 advantage in points off of turnovers. Amor. Iriafin on the move. Blocked by Kawir. Pass ahead to Beckers. Beckers going at Citron off one leg. Not enough on it. Offensive board to Shepard. Shepard. Off the double. Kawir for 3. Side iron and off the mark. Citron. Again, the Mystics looking for back-to-back wins. They've gone to overtime in 2 of their 3 games so far this season. This is McMahon, beautiful feed. Iriafin can't hit the leg. Got it back. And on the second attempt, she'll go to the line.
Overall, Washington has been making nice plays. They're creating quality looks. You like the shot profile. Just a handful of shots have not gone down and gone through. But the pressure on the rim is something that's going to be important. Take a look at these first 3 games. They've been close. They've been tight. And that's about the composure of figuring out how to just put themselves in position.
And they shot poorly from the floor in that overtime loss to the New York Liberty and played much better in that win over Indiana. The WNBA app is your home court for all things WNBA. Stay in the game with the latest schedule, where to watch, game alerts, and more. Scan the QR code to download now. Iriafen, an all-star, all-rookie team selection a season ago, averaging 19 and nearly 14 rebounds a game so far this season. This is Agumbawale. Yes.
When those shots start falling, it shows you just the compliments of how many players can be a threat on the floor.
And a late whistle and an offensive foul. Kiki Iriafen picking up the foul. It's going to be her first.
And look at just a great read there by Agumbawale. Shepherd setting that screen off a night action in a set. And Jordan Arike Agumbawale, she's really a special part of this group and the consistency of this Dallas franchise.
Sarah, no question. And this is where she wanted to be when she re-signed for 2 more years. She said, this is home for me. I've been here my whole career. With the previous years we've had here, look, the easy way out would be to leave and go join a better contender. But I've carried a lot over somebody's pockets. But it's worth noting here because in her doing that, it allowed them to sign some big names in the offseason. She said, hey, I've always asked for more talent around me. The only way to get that is to leave money on the table so they can go pay more to build a better roster. So Arike all in on this Dallas team.
Now, she wants to win for sure, and they added some reinforcements. As you mentioned, Alana Smith, reigning co-defensive player of the year, Jessica Shepherd, who's been tremendous on the interior for the Wings so far in this young season. And this is Lucy Olsen at the free throw line. Second year out of Iowa. First team All Big Ten a couple of years ago with the Hawkeyes.
And to the point about Arike Agumbawale, this Dallas team, they have got the potential. They've got the offensive firepower. Sometimes, though, you need to give things time and let everyone get comfortable with one another, what it looks like together, where your shots are going to be coming from.
Near steal, fought mid-range, good. Just a silky smooth jumper for the #1 overall pick. Pocket pass to Iriafen. Iriafen squeezes it through. She now has 8 points to go with 9 rebounds. Beckers and Citron. She gives it up to Fudd, nearly stripped by Olsen. Shepherd, beautiful feed, clear the leg.
And what a job by Shepherd in the passing off of that. What Washington has tried to do is blitz a lot of those ball screens, put pressure on the ball handler, and overall the Wings have done a nice job at passing out of it.
McMahon from downtown left it short. Agumbawale pushing the tempo, showing the handle, going at McMahon. Agumbawale, no. Shepherd came out of there with the offensive board.
Shepherd coming up with a lot of offensive rebounds and extra possessions for her team.
Beckers spinning away from Olsen. Beckers can't get 2, and Austin clears it for the Mystics. McMahon, nowhere to go, finds Austin. Austin inside, can't get the layup to drop. Career sets the feed, no good, and Iriafen with her 10th rebound of the ball game. Past the midway mark of this third quarter, and it's the Wings leading by 9. Citron, the pass was behind her. Agumbawale got by Olsen and will head to the line for 2. Arike Ogunbowale, 12 points in the ball game. And Peacock, and here we are in Arlington, a 9-point advantage for the Wings. Michael Grady, Sarah Kustok, Jordan Cornett, and Arike Ogunbowale at the free throw line for the Wings. And what a series we're expecting, though, between the Spurs and the Thunder.
Tremendous. I already can't wait. We've had a great season of the NBA on NBC. Of course, you're such a major part of that. Great start to the playoffs.
Yes, yes. And it's
all stacking up.
In the Final Four right now in the NBA postseason, conference finals, and you know the dominance that the Spurs had over OKC during the regular season, but the OKC, they are the defending champions. 4 minutes to go in this third quarter. This is Cass Prosper. And now Citron on the move, pull up over Beckers is pure.
What a tough shot by Sonia Citron, and that's exactly what she can do. She hasn't had a lot of clean looks here. Give a lot of credit to Beckers in what Dallas has done defensively. For Citron, just finding her way from the three-point line here in the early part of the season.
Ball with the runner. She's got the touch. Eight points for AZ Fudge. She also had 8 in the last outing on Thursday against Minnesota. Prosper looking for Betts inside. Betts pull off, no good.
Jessica Shepard has been so tough on the inside, and oftentimes her positioning, depending who she's guarding, doesn't have a couple inches on her, but she knows how to work angles.
Beckers around a Shepard screen, and Olsen picks up the foul. Olsen will take a seat, and Georgia Amore will check back into the ball game for the Mystics. Ogunbowale. Outside to Beckers. Shot clock to 4. Shepard spinning. Shepard count it and put her on the line.
What a tough take here by Jessica Shepard. The quickness of her turn, reading where Dugalich is coming from. I mean, she's just got a clear side on the right. And player now just understands exactly how to operate when she's in single coverage. Had such a tremendous start to her career with the Minnesota Lynx, and is such a big add to what Dallas wants to accomplish.
Led the WNBA in field goal percentage a season ago. Could not complete the three-point play. Outside look, Prosper, it won't go. Beckers crashing the glass. Wings looking for their largest lead of the ball game. Shepard. Oh, the fake. Shepard with the finish.
Once again, you see the craftiness of reads, and that's an example of the experience. Cody McMahon trying to figure out exactly where to be, what's happening, and Shepard just makes a beautiful read.
The Wings lead is 14. Amore inside. Betts got 2. Pass ahead to Fudd. Fudd penetrates. Fudd!
AZ Fudd has had so many strong takes to the basket, especially when players are closing out on her tough. You know you want to shore up that space quick and come out strong because of the way in which she can shoot. What she's been able to do is continue to read her defenders, look at where some of those gaps are. And Jordan, she's just continuing to get more and more comfortable here with this Dallas team in her first professional season.
Let's send it over to Jordan.
Sarah, no question about it. A lot of the adjustments in talking with her, she said, it's mental. You don't practice as much or as long. The language is different than what it was at UConn. My teammates are vets. So the scout is easy for them, but it might take me a second. For example, on a ball screen coverage, I get caught up in my head. I get mixed up on the vernacular, and boom, I'm smacked on a screen. That happens, I will get there. But in talking with Coach Fernandez, he said she's going to get more time because she is a star scoring the basketball, and we're seeing some of that this evening, guys.
No doubt about it. Meanwhile, another turnover for the Mystics. They're 16th of the ball game. And how about this, Coach? We came into the ball game talking about how the Mystics have had a strong advantage on the interior, leading the WNBA in paint points. But it's the wings with an advantage in paint points in this one. 28-22 advantage Dallas.
Well, we've seen chemistry from this Dallas team on the floor, and of course, and I think for all of these players, understanding how to mix the seriousness of the business they want to accomplish, but also the fun, the friendships that they really embody, and especially a player like AZ Fudd. In talking with us this morning, she said, I know how to be patient, and I think she's just valuing every chance she has to have an opportunity here on the floor to learn.
Shot clock to 3. Prosper saw the shot clock fires, but it's too late. Shot clock violation. And this has been an inspired performance by the Dallas Wings.
You knew that they would come in hungry to respond. We've talked a lot about them searching for their first home win, but that was a tough loss against Minnesota that they suffered here on Thursday.
Fudd off the heel, Amor the board, and then loses it out of bounds. Stripped by Fudd, and the Wings may want to challenge this. And there's the 13-point advantage. We'll have the Rock with 41.6 on the third quarter game clock. AZ Fudd got it back from Shepard. Beckers inside, and a foul is called. Cass Prosper picking up her second foul. So Shepard will go to the free throw line with the Mystics in the penalty.
Jessica Shepard has been so impressive here tonight. A lot of it, too, doing the little things, the positioning that she's had, taking advantage of a lot of her matchups just in terms of her reads. And I think when we look at the young players on the floor for Washington, a part of it is getting used to that, knowing the personnel. And Shepard has used her mind in a lot of areas to be able to create advantages for herself.
30 seconds to go in the third. 18-point advantage for the Wings, looking for their first home win. Area Finn attacking Segris and draws the foul.
Kiki Uriafin's comfort when she catches the ball in the middle of the paint continues to grow here in her second season. You see the shot fake, she's squaring up, and look at where Segris's body is at, where her feet are turned, and where she's going to attack from. And that's going to continue to be a huge part of her growth. She's working on that three-point shot, how she's able to stretch the floor. You know she could play with her back to the basket, but get that intermediate game where she can knock down a mid-range shot or face you up and put it on the ground, makes her even more of a threat.
Split a pair at the line. Shot clock is off for Paige Beckers and the Wings. Shepard, hand off to Beckers. Beckers fires and connects. It's a three for Beckers. Amor doesn't get the shot off in time. The Wings close the third on a 14-3.
Efficient from the field, and that's exactly what this Wings team wants to see.
Mystics starting the fourth with their starters. See if they can go on any kind of run to make things interesting. Backdoor cut, McMahon comes out of there with it. Toss out, Amor, well off the mark, Shepard the board.
Important couple minutes here to start the quarter for the Mystics, how they can get back in it and just being really methodical on the offensive end, but more than anything defensively trying to slow down Dallas.
Shepard going at Iriafen, faded away, and Iriafen got her on the elbow. And Shepard will go to the line to shoot two. How about Shepard tonight? 10 points, 13 rebounds, 4 assists.
I've just been so impressive with how she's able to realize places on the floor that she can be most aggressive and attack, and keep mentioning the balance of everyone being active. But I think Jessica Shepard, the more she gets comfortable in this system with this group, where her shots are going to come from, and how much she's going to be able to look for her own because of the mismatches on the floor, because of the other threats and the weapons. And I think everyone from the wings is continuing to experience that, of how they're going to have those type of openings and balance because of so many offensive threats.
Amor. Defended by Fudd, over to Citron. Citron with just 7 points tonight on 3 of 5 shooting. Nearly was stripped, and she loses it out of bounds. An unforced error.
There's another example, though, of throwing bodies at Citron, and for Dallas, taking advantage of that pick and roll, using the blitz, and just making it really challenging and difficult on her. That was part of the game plan, and they've done a nice job executing.
Agumbawale handles, 3-ball, won't go. This is Cody McMahon, coast to coast. Cody with the leg. It's Dallas 68, Washington 48. And Dallas coming off back-to-back losses on their home floor. Getting ready for a road trip after this one. This is Segrist in the lane. Easy bucket.
Breakdown defensively. Everyone's focused on the strong side of the floor, and Paige Becker's on the block. Because of it, opens up a nice gap. That's exactly what the Dallas offense is intended to do.
Amor over to Austin. Austin, it rolls out on her. Shepard pushes it ahead, and now they'll set things up. Man got a hand on it, but now Agumbawale recovers. Agumbawale, nice feed. Fudd out to Beckers, and Beckers drains it. The lead is 25. Citron can't go glass, and Shepard comes out of there with it. And, McMahon having a dive on the scoreboard to try to save it. Good hustle there.
The ball movement has been a thing of beauty. Fudd finding Beckers from the corner, bottoms, and Paige Beckers has been on point as she typically is in terms of her efficiency. Overall for Dallas, you love the way in which they're continuing to shift and rotate this Washington defense.
Segrist, a good look from downtown, can't hit. Rebound battle for, and of course, Shepard comes out of there with it. Beckers on the baseline. Skip pass over to Segrist. Segrist on the move. Out to Fudd. Fudd is fouled.
Think about when we're watching this and watching the wings, how often the ball is hitting every point on the floor, and they're making quick decisions with their passing. AZ Fudd here off of this. Amor's trying to be tied up on her, forcing her to put it on the ground. The last thing you want is a catch and shoot for a player like Fudd. But overall, just the tremendous balance, and you see it here in the continuity. You knew they were going to be able to score, though. The impressive part has been what they have done defensively here tonight.
Yeah, that's an over and back. And that's a great point, Sarah. I think we knew going in this was a high-scoring Dallas wing squad. The question was whether or not they could figure out on the defensive end. Enrique Agumbawale saying, look, it's early in the season. They're going to figure things out, and it's going to take some time.
And that's so important to remember. The same thing could be said about Washington. All of this is early, and especially when you have a young player or younger groups, what that looks like in that type of experience. But I think when you have 2 days of practice and then you're able to come out and perform this way, that's always something that is a really big positive for a team.
This is an outside look from McMahon that drops. Cody McMahon, another one of those rookies for the Mystics, 9 on their roster.
And a lot of optimism for what she can bring to the table. I know she's
fun. Just silky smooth.
Dallas wants to continue to do was free her up for looks, for shots. That's been happening here so far tonight.
Betts squeezes it in, plus the foul. 4 minutes gone by here in the fourth. A 75-51 advantage for the Wings. Scoring game in her young WNBA career, Jordan. Get back to Jordan in a moment. 75-54. Beckers with the handle. Shepard. Now it's Couir, who's provided good minutes off the bench. Couir got it back from Beckers and pushes it in.
What's just a beautiful play in the rhythm that you see in that chemistry between a player like Beckers and Couir, cutting off the basketball, finding those open areas because of the attention Beckers is garnering.
This is McMahon to the rim. Couldn't put it in, but is fouled on the play. And Cody McMahon will go to the line for 2.
Off-ball cutting has been so huge for Dallas. Beckers stepping in. You got 3 players that collapse in the paint to try and protect it, and Couir just coming from the top. Big old smiles. You can understand why.
And she's happy to be back in the W. Had a couple of years away playing in the Italian league. She started her career with the Wings, and then back here, as Jordan mentioned earlier, the contract that Agumbawale took on just allowed the Wings to bring in key players in, like Jessica Shepard, like Alana Smith, but also bring back Couir.
And I think there's just a really nice fit because you have optionality in what your lineups look like and what that looks like for each given opponent. And I just think everyone continues to find spaces and places on the floor where they can be most effective.
Beckers. Out to Couir, back to Beckers, 6 on the clock. How about that 2-man game? Beckers to Couir.
She manipulates the whole defense. And again, another example, Dugulich is still watching Beckers and what she's doing on top, and it gives just enough room for her teammate to cut to the basket.
12 points off the bench for Couir. Betts turns inside and puts it in. Lauren Betts, 10 minutes in this ball game. 7 points. Outside look. Beckers. The efficiency is off the charts.
Great screen by Shepard. Again, the Wings just really clicking on all cylinders of utilizing their actions in all spaces on the floor.
16 points off 6 to 10 shooting for Beckers as Lucy Olsen hits the jumper. Shepard. Hand off to Beckers. Beckers also has 7 assists. That pass deflected out of bounds by Prosper. And Roy Harmon checks into the ball game for the Mystics. You hear a roar of applause. Again, Harmon, a Houston native, and played collegiately at Texas. Agumbawale can't hit the rainbow 3. How about Couir? Over to Beckers. Beckers, teardrop! Come on now.
That was nasty. We got about 3 players trying to cover her. Goes over the top.
Nice feed. Dugulich can't hit. Out of bounds. It'll stay here. Again, Paige Beckers, 7 of 11 shooting. 18 points.
She's
hit 4 threes.
She is cold. What she has always been predicated on, though, is efficiency, and she continues to show that.
Olsen hits another.
Good minutes here by Lucy Olsen stepping in. Mentioned it finished her collegiate career at Iowa, but started it at Villanova first 3 seasons. Actually, a teammate of the Wings, Maddie Segrist.
Mystics timeout. 2:57 to go in regulation. All Dallas. The lead is 22.
Far in the second half, 13 points, 5 assists. She's been doing a little bit of everything.
Beckers heaves, can't hit. Harmon, the board. 2-on-2. Prosper locked legs with Beckers and goes down. Beckers, again, has been tremendous to start this season. For more, let's bring in Jordan.
A lot of it had to do, Michael, with Paige's commitment to the weight room, getting stronger. She said, I spent a lot of hours there in the weight room. I went full go for the warm-up, to the warm-up, to the workout. I was that committed. I know how important taking care of my body was. Going back to when I tore my ACL, I did a lot of tedious work in the weight room that I couldn't commit to in the middle of the season. I also did a lot of Pilates, weight room before the games, and after games, just staying with it. She also mentioned, coming from college, there was so little time to put in that work in the weight room going into my first season. I had the luxury going into my second season, as you hear the round of applause for Paige and her teammates, guys.
The physicality, we talked about this, Coos. I think the most difficult jump from a physical standpoint in any professional league is really going from women's college basketball to the WNBA. And a big reason for that, not just the physicality of grown women out here that we see on the floor, but just that short window between playing college basketball in that season with jumping into professional basketball.
I also think it's just getting a feel for what things look like, what you need to do with your body to still maintain that muscle, but also have the speed. And Paige gave a ton of credit to Preston Smith, the strength and conditioning coach for Dallas, and just understanding the work that needed to be done. And I think, too, for opposing defenses, they're going to throw every coverage, every player, multiple bodies at her, try and bump her, try and wear players down. And she just is showcased so many different ways.
Isaiah James, hoop and harm. And a chance for 3.
Up in the game. And Zaya James, someone as well, who's just a promising young player for Dallas. A big smile on her face. Speaking of getting a little bit of contact, still able to finish through it. Her prowess not only to score on the offensive side, but the potential of what she can do and bring defensively. Overall, too, I was talking with Paige just about the ways in which she's looking to improve this season. She said a part of it, too, is just the leadership aspect, the communication, and how she's able to continue to not only perform on the floor, but help bring along her teammates.
Olsen, toss out to Harmon. Harmon in the lane, left it short, and Couir comes out of there with the board. Awak Couir, 9 points, a couple of rebounds, 4 assists. We have a collision at midcourt. We'll take a look at the upcoming WNBA national TV schedule. Wednesday, USA Network, Portland, Indiana, Dallas, Chicago. Thursday on Prime Video, Golden State, New York, LA, Portland. For more on these games, go to WNBA.com or visit the WNBA app. Dallas going to get their first home win of the season and improve the 2-2 on the air. James with the highlight move. Can't get the finish, but will shoot 2. And her teammates standing on their feet off the bench on that one.
I mean, she's pulling out all the tricks. Pour that sauce on. You see the smile from Paige Beckers. Everyone impressed with that. James has got some shiftiness. There's some gears to her game.
Second year out of NC State, appeared in 38 games a year ago with 8 starts. That was just under 9 points per contest a year ago. Both of these teams young and deep. Just a matter of putting it all together. Olsen. Over to Prosper. Prosper into Betts. Betts got 2.
That's a really beautiful feed. Sims trying to come over there to help, and Betts with the quick, not only catch, but turn and finish.
11 points off the bench for Lauren Betts. And that's an offensive foul. Odyssey Sims too physical there with Roy Harmon.
See right there is Hartman. It's a little bit of a push off and shove as she's trying to fight through that career screen and off of a foul, but what Dallas has done a nice job is just winning the turnover battle. 23 points off turnovers. They have only given up 9 points off turnovers to Washington, and they took care of the glass. This is a Mystics team that averages almost 51 points in the paint and been held to about 30, kept them off the offensive glass. A lot of the things coming in to this game, Dallas is taking care of. And for Washington, end of a road trip and, you know, emotional wins. We looked at those 2 overtime games that they've experienced and opportunity to take a look at some film and work for ways to improve.
They're in the middle of a 4-game road trip. They will get to go home to D.C. for a few days, as their next ball game won't be Sunday.
Oh, I should say they do go home, but still, the road trip does not, technically the road trip does not end.
Yes, meanwhile for Dallas, again, they're wrapping up this homestand. They'll go on the road for some games against Chicago as James gets to high-five her teammates into that corner tray. But the Wings will head to Chicago, Atlanta, and then New York. Harmon from downtown, off the heel. James the board. Isaiah James with 8 points off the bench. And she'll dribble out the clock. The Wings challenged by their head coach after Thursday's loss to Minnesota. And what a response. Dallas wins 92-69. Becker's leading the way.